Hey everybody, how's it going? Thiago here and welcome to another video. Happy Sunday. Did you have a nice week? Hope so. If you're new here, I created this channel to help intermediate and advanced learners of English communicate with more confidence, more accuracy, more clarity, and more awareness. If you're new here and if this sounds like something you want for yourself in your English, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss a single new video. Today we are learning English with a great movie called Good Will Hunting. It stars Robin Williams and Matt Damon. This movie came out in 1997 and I selected here perhaps one of the most memorable scenes from that movie for us to watch together today and learn some vocabulary and pronunciation. All right? Before we start with the clip though, let me remind you that my pronunciation course is available on pre-sale at a very special discounted price. With this course, you're going to learn the main connected speech patterns that native speakers use when they speak fast English, and also the main sounds of the English language for you to develop your pronunciation on a more individual level. The course is available on pre-sale at a very special price. If you want to learn more about the course, the link is in the description of this video and also as a pinned comment down below. All right, before we watch the clip here, let me read a little bit of the plot for you so you can get the context of what's happening in the scene. This is on Wikipedia, and this is the movie poster right here, Good Will Hunting, okay? So check it out. 20-year-old Will Hunting of South Boston is a self-taught math genius who was recently paroled after completing prison term. So he was in jail, Matt Damon's character here, Will, and he was recently paroled after completing prison term. When a prisoner is paroled or leaves on parole, that prisoner is allowed to get out of jail, but still under supervision, okay? If that criminal doesn't follow the program or does something bad or wrong, the person comes back to prison, okay? So this kid here, he's 20 years old. He's been to jail. Now he's out on parole, but he's a self-taught math genius. He works as a janitor at MIT and spends his free time drinking with his friends Chucky, Billy, and Morgan. When Professor Gerald Lembeau, I believe that's the name, posts a difficult mathematics problem on a blackboard as a challenge for his graduate students, Will solves the problem anonymously, stunning or impressing both the students and Lembeau. Okay? Because remember, he's a self-taught math genius. Okay? So after Professor Lembeau finds out that he was the kid, he was the one, the janitor. The janitor kid was actually the math genius who solved that problem on the board. Okay? Let me skip to this paragraph right here. Look. The next day, Will and his friends get in a fight with a gang that includes a member who used to bully Will as a child. Will is arrested again after he attacks a responding police officer. Lembeau sits in on his court appearance and watches Will defend himself. He arranges for Will to avoid jail time if he agrees to study mathematics under Lembeau's supervision and participate in psychotherapy sessions. Will agrees, but treats his therapists with mockery. I think I've already explained this word here in a past video. Mockery comes from mocking. When you mock a person, you make fun of that person. You don't take that person seriously. So Will mocks his psychologists, his therapists, because remember, he's a very smart kid. In desperation, Lembeau calls on Dr. Sean McGuire, Robin Williams' character, okay? His college roommate, who now teaches psychology at Bunker Hill Community College. Unlike the other therapists, Sean actually challenges Will's defense mechanisms. During the first session, Will insults his deceased wife. Deceased, dead, okay? When a person is deceased, the person is dead. So Will, the kid, insults Sean's deceased wife, and Sean threatens him. But after a few unproductive sessions, Will finally begins to open up. He finally begins to talk to Sean, to his new therapist. Okay? So this is a little bit of the context for you. So now that you know the context, this scene here happens right after the first session, which was a disaster. Will, with his arrogance, right? His youthful arrogance, insults Sean's wife, and then the session doesn't end well. And then the next day, this scene happens. So let's watch it.
Thought about what you said to me the other day about my painting.
It's interesting here, guys, the connected speech from the get-go, right? So check it out.
Thought about what you said to me.
Did you hear that? What you. Because here I have this combination. I have the T for what with the Y for you. This combination often sounds like ch. So that's why he says what you. I thought about what you said. Okay? Let's go back here.
Thought about what you said to me the other day.
Another interesting point here when it comes to connected speech. He doesn't say what you said to me. He doesn't say to me, but he says said to me. So to here is reduced to a da-da, what you said to me. Okay? So listen again.
To me the other day.
Oops, let me go back a little bit here.
Thought about what you said to me the other day.
Did you hear that? What you said to me. And guys, these and many other connected speech patterns you learn in my new course. Do check it out, okay? But let's continue here.
About my painting. Stayed up half the night thinking about it. Something occurred to me.
Nice phrase. Something occurred to me. Okay? When something occurs to you, you have a realization. You have an epiphany, a revelation. Like, okay, I got it. I got this. Something occurs to you. You have a thought, an interesting insight. Okay? So something occurred to me. Let's hear that again to see if he pronounces to or the. Again, let's go back here.
Something occurred to me.
Did you hear that? Again, he doesn't say something occurred to me, but occurred to me. The. Something occurred to me. Nice, right? Let's go back.
The night thinking about it. Something occurred to me. I fell into a deep, peaceful sleep and haven't thought about you since.
About you, again. That pattern of T and Y, about you, we go cha-cha, right? I haven't thought about you since.
You know what occurred to me? No. You're just a kid. You don't have the faintest idea what you're talking about.
Nice word here. Let me go back. Actually, it's a word, guys.
You don't have the...
It's a word, but actually you can learn the whole context here. Yeah, the whole phrase, the whole chunk. You don't have the faintest idea. When you say that to someone, if you say, look, you don't have the faintest idea of blah, 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 you mean you have no clue. You have no idea. You don't know what you're talking about. You don't know what you're saying. You don't have the faintest idea. Okay? The slightest idea. It's a very nice chunk for you to memorize. Okay?
Faintest idea of what you're talking about.
Why, thank you.
It's all right. You've never been out of Boston.
Nice connection here too, yeah? Listen.
You've never been out of Boston.
So, out of Boston, he says out of Boston. Out of Boston. Listen again. Out of Boston. You've never been out of Boston.
You've never been out of Boston.
So what happens here is the of is reduced to a schwa sound. Literally, So out of becomes outer. Out of Boston. Out of Boston. So you've never been out of Boston. And the N there for been is also joined with the O for out. So been out. Now, right? You've never been out of Boston. You've never been out of Boston. Okay? It's a really nice connected phrase here that we hear.
You've never been out of Boston? Nope. So if I asked you about art, you'd probably give me the skinny on every art book ever written. Michelangelo. You know a lot about him. Life's work, political aspirations, him and the Pope, sexual orientation, the whole works, right?
Guys, this is a very common phrase, the whole works. You know, he's listing here things that Will probably knows about Michelangelo. Life's work, political aspirations, him and the Pope, sexual orientation. In other words, everything. But this everything, you can communicate with this phrase, the whole works. The whole works, as he does here. Listen again.
Life's work, political aspirations, him and the Pope, sexual orientation, the whole works, right?
You see, the whole works. Very nice native phrase. It's very common for native speakers to use that. So, for example, imagine I'm excited because I just bought this new cell phone and I want to show you this new cell phone. And then I can describe to you all the cool features this phone has. And then I can go, guys, this phone shoots in 4K. It has 128 gigabytes of storage. I can play games with it. The whole works. You see, I list a few things, and then to say everything, I can say the whole works. Okay? Or this car has this, and that. The whole works. Got it? Really cool conversational phrase that you can use to spice up your speaking skills there. Okay?
I bet you can't tell me what it smells like in the Sistine Chapel.
Guys, for those of you who don't know, the Sistine Chapel was painted by Michelangelo, and it is in the Vatican City. Okay? You can Google a picture later for you to see it. I mean, it has this ceiling that is really beautiful, yeah? It's fully painted, you know? So you see what he's questioning here? What Sean is questioning Will about? I mean, yes, you know in theory about Michelangelo's life work, but you've never been in the Sistine Chapel, for example, to truly appreciate that firsthand. And now he's going to give many examples about that, guys, because the main point he's making here is that Will is a young kid. He's only 20 years old. He's still young. He's still inexperienced. So while he may be a genius, while he may have a lot of theoretical knowledge about stuff, he doesn't have a lot of life experience yet, so he hasn't really experienced a lot of the things he knows about. And knowing something in theory and actually experiencing it firsthand are two completely different things. That's the main point he's making here. Let's continue now with more examples that he gives.
It's like in the Sistine Chapel. You've never actually stood there and looked up at that beautiful ceiling. Seen that. If I ask you about women, you'd probably give me a syllabus of your personal favorites.
Nice word here. If I ask you about women, you'll probably give me a syllabus of your personal favorites. A syllabus is a document that outlines something about a topic. It's like a list, a formal list, a formal document. So if I ask about women, you'll probably give me a syllabus or a list of your personal favorite types of women, right?
Probably give me a syllabus of your personal favorites. You may have even been laid a few times.
You may have even been laid a few times. When you are laid, or when you get laid, you have sex. Okay? Another common phrase that you hear a lot in movies, in TV series, especially when they deal with romantic relationships, and usually every story has some sort of love interest, right? So if you see that, to be laid or to get laid, it's about having sex. So you may even have been laid a few times. Maybe you've already had sex with some girls. Okay.
But you can't tell me what it feels like to wake up next to a woman and feel truly happy. You're a tough kid. I ask you about war, you'd probably throw Shakespeare at me, right? Once more into the breach, dear friends.
A little cultural reference here, guys. This is a quote from a Shakespeare play. The play is called Henry V. or Henry V, okay? This is a dramatization of events that happen related to King Henry V, or the Fifth of England, and how he invaded France to claim the throne. And then, he was outnumbered, but then he was able to win the battle and marry the French princess and unite the nations. The play is called Henry V, or Henry V. That's the play here he is bringing up, okay? So he's talking to Will. If I ask about war, you will probably quote me or throw Shakespeare at me, right? Like, once more into the breach, dear friends. Yeah, because the story here is about a war that happened, okay? But
you've never been near one.
But you've never been near one. Yeah, you don't know what war looks like up close, right?
You've never held your best friend's head in your lap and watch him gasp his last breath looking to you for help. When I ask you about love, probably quote me a sonnet.
A sonnet. A sonnet is a poem. Yeah, I believe it has 14 lines, if I'm not mistaken. It's a poem. Yeah, so if I ask about love, you will probably quote me a sonnet. Because remember, Will has a lot of theoretical knowledge about books and stuff. Okay?
But you've never looked at a woman and been totally vulnerable. Known someone that could level you with her eyes.
Nice expression here, guys. You've never
known someone that could.
You've never known someone that could level you with her eyes. Like, simply by looking at you, you already feel a little bit intimidated or figured out, a woman that truly understands you and that truly communicates with you just by looking at you. Yeah. So he's describing that experience. Like, usually you get that when you stay with a person for a long time, right? And when both of you love each other, right? So you've never had that kind of relationship. That's what he's saying here.
Level you with her eyes. Feeling like God put an angel on earth just for you. Who could rescue you from the depths of hell.
I love that collocation, guys. That phrase specifically, right? Very common. You see that. I've seen that a lot in games and stuff, from the depths of hell. From the depths of hell. Depth is the noun form for deep, okay? So the depths, from deep in hell, yeah? So a person, maybe, imagine your significant other who you love dearly, a person who could rescue you from the depths of hell. I love that.
And you wouldn't know what it's like to be her angel. To have that love for her be there forever. Through anything. Through cancer. And you would know about sitting up in a hospital room for 2 months, holding her hand, because the doctors could see in your eyes that the terms visiting hours don't apply to you.
Did you hear again? Don't apply to you. He doesn't say don't apply to you, but don't apply to you. Do you. Don't apply to you. Okay?
You don't know about real loss, because that only occurs when you love something more than you love yourself.
Guys, loss is the noun for lose, okay? When you lose something, we call that a loss. So he's saying to the kid, you don't know what real loss is, because for you to really feel that, you have to love something or someone more than you love yourself.
I doubt you've ever dared to love anybody that much.
You see? I doubt you've ever dared or you've ever had the courage to love anybody that much, to love anybody more than yourself.
I look at you, I don't see an intelligent, confident man. I see a cocky, scared, shitless kid.
Nice. When you act in a cocky way, you act in an overconfident way. Okay? So I see a cocky, in other words, overconfident, scared, shitless kid. In other words, a kid who looks tough, who looks overly confident, but who is very insecure inside. That's what Sean, the older, more experienced therapist here, is sharing with the kid, with Will. Okay? And guys, I believe that this is so true. I think that we all have that, actually. We all have that cockiness, let's say, when we are younger. I certainly had that. I remember when I was in my early 20s, up to mid 20s to be specific, when I was like 20, 21, 22, 23, I used to be very cocky about stuff. I used to be like very certain about things. You usually feel like you have a lot of certainty about everything. You know the answers to everything. Whenever you share a thought of yours, an opinion of yours, you share that with strength, with overconfidence, because you truly believe that that's the right thing. And there's no other alternative. That's it. You see it clearly, right? But then something funny happens, at least in my experience, guys, when you get older. When you get older, and the more knowledge you acquire, the more things you learn, and the more life experience you get, the more you realize that there are still so many other things that you don't know about. And in many ways, this is a humbling experience. A humbling experience is something that makes you feel humble. It gives you humility because you go, man, yes, I have acquired a lot of knowledge in my life up to now. I have learned many things, but I realize that there are so many other things that I still don't know about, that I still have to learn. And usually that realization tends to come for us when we are older, okay? Usually when we are very young, we don't have that. We feel very certain about things. Just like Will here acts. He's only 20 years old, and you didn't see the previous scene, but he was acting extremely confident and cocky, So that usually happens. Yeah, it's that, I love that saying, that line, the more I know, the more I realize I don't know, I guess when you are able to have that realization, I guess that's what people call true wisdom. Yeah. You are truly becoming a wiser person. That's why usually older people, they might not have a lot of maybe theoretical knowledge or book knowledge about stuff, but they have a lot of life knowledge, a lot of life experience. Like, when you talk to your grandparents, for example, and they share wisdom with you. That wisdom comes from life experience, from these things that Sean is describing here as examples, from experiencing things, for doing things, and living through things, right? Let's continue here.
But you're a genius, Will. No one denies that. No one could possibly understand the depths of you. But you presume to know everything about me because you saw a painting of mine.
Nice word, guys. Presume. When you presume something, or when you presume to know something, you believe you know something without having real proof of what you're saying. You don't have real proof, but then you presume that that is the truth. You know about that thing. You are presuming. Okay? Because Will did that with him in the first session. Will saw a painting that Sean had on his wall, and through that painting, Will presumed that he knew everything about Sean's life. So he started dissecting everything about his life, like making assumptions, most assumptions that were not true, were not real. Okay?
And you ripped my fucking life apart. You're an orphan, right? Do you think I'd know the first thing about how hard your life has been? How you feel? Who you are? Because I read Oliver Twist.
Nice, right? Oliver Twist is a classic book. I believe it was written by Charles Dickens about an orphan kid, So you see what Sean is saying here, like, yeah, you are an orphan. Do you think I would know everything about how hard your life has been as an orphan just because I read a book about an orphan? Of course not. Yeah? I mean, how could I understand the depths of you or how profound you are as a person without getting to know you, just by reading a book. You see? Because that's what Will was doing to him before.
Does that encapsulate you?
Does that encapsulate you? Like, does that, communicate everything about who you are?
Personally, I don't give a shit about all that, because you know what?
This is a very common phrase, guys. It's kind of really informal. Actually, it's really informal, but you see that a lot in movies and series, right? I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit about something. When you don't give a shit about something, you don't care. I don't care about it. I don't give a shit about it. But remember that this sounds very informal, okay? You can use that when you are frustrated or angry, okay? But don't use that freely, okay? Because it's really informal.
Personally, I don't give a shit about all that, because you know what? I can't learn anything from you. I can't read in some fucking book. Unless you want to talk about you, who you are, then I'm fascinated.
You see, so he's a therapist, right? So he's encouraging the kid to talk about himself in the sessions, to share about his life, his experience, what he has been through, Sean here is saying, look, I can't learn anything from you from books. I can only learn about you by talking to you, but you got to be open to share stuff about you with me. You got to be open to talk, If you do that, then I'm fascinated to learn more about you.
I'm in. But you don't want to do that, do you, Sport?
Guys, here we have a very nice case of tag question, A tag question or a question tag is usually a mini question that you ask at the end of a sentence for confirmation. And the rule is, when the sentence prior is affirmative, the tag is negative. When the sentence prior is negative, like in this case, then the tag is affirmative. So here, but you don't want to do that. That's a negative sentence. And then the tag question is affirmative. Do you? But you don't want to do that, do you? Okay? Another point about tag questions, right? You got to use the same auxiliary from the sentence prior. So here I have don't, so I'm going to use do. Okay? And he calls Will sport. This is an informal way that you have in English to call a boy, a young man, something, Sport here is like buddy, friend, champ, It's an informal way to refer to a kid, and it's usually affectionate, But you don't want to do that, do you, Sport? Okay? It has nothing to do with the kid being athletic or playing sports, nothing to do with that. It's just almost an affectionate remark, yeah? An affectionate way to call a young boy, okay? Like, hey, how you doing, Sport? How are you feeling today? You're
terrified of what you might say. Your move, Chief.
Chief here, again, is another way of calling a young man. It's similar to sport, okay? It doesn't mean the boy is a chief or a boss or something like that. It's just an informal way to refer to a young man, okay? So he says, your move. In other words, your decision, yeah? So do you want to make the most out of our sessions? So talk to me, open up. But only if you want to. It's your move now. Got it? And then after he says that, he stands up and leaves, and Will stays there sitting, kind of reflecting about everything he just heard. Guys, we call this a monologue. Monologue, all right? What we just saw was a monologue by Robin Williams, He was speaking alone for almost 5 minutes. I did an Al Pacino lesson here on the channel as well, a little while back, and that movie that we worked on also had a beautiful monologue by Al Pacino. It was like 5-6 minutes of himself alone talking. And that's one of the reasons I love older movies like this, guys. Movies from the 90s, the 80s, because It used to be more common for us to see those moments in those movies where actors would just give lengthy monologues. You will see an actor delivering a powerful speech for 4, 5, 6 minutes. To be honest with you, I don't see that much nowadays in movies today. But that's all I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed learning some vocabulary and pronunciation with this clip today. If you found this clip interesting, you might want to check out the whole movie. It's awesome. And don't forget to check out my pronunciation course available on pre-sale. You're going to love it. We did learn here some connected speech patterns that we saw in the clip. So the course is all about that. It's all about teaching you those patterns so you can better understand media and native speakers in general. So do check out the course, link in the description and in the show notes. And finally, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss a single new video here. Guys, thank you very much. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll be talking to you very soon in the upcoming video. Bye-bye.